So, Tim was just talking about you, so we thought we'd get you up here and grill you on all your financial decisions that you've made over your life. You and Julianne have just got back from 3 weeks in Romania. We've had about 2 weeks, a week in Queensland, a week home, and 3 weeks in Romania, which has probably been pretty life-transforming for you. Yeah. But in the first place, why did you go? Because it wasn't really about you, was it?
No. I think I went because it was Julianne's dream. I didn't want to go that far away from home without me, mainly, but I think God used Julianne as a hook just to drag me there. And after being there, saw a huge need. Desperate, because as you can see by some of the pictures on the roof, on the screen there of where we're at, you know, you just go there and you just realise that I've got a huge amount of skill, potential and knowledge that you could share with these people to make a difference. So Julianne's the culprit, but I think after being, I just reflected when I got home that it was just good to be there together, so I'm glad God's got us on the journey together.
So Julianne was the reason that you went. It was her fault. But while you were there, God pretty much wrecked your heart.
Yeah. And you probably only realise that when you come home. Because you come home to the best place in the world. And you leave behind just people that are struggling, you know, the filth and the poverty and people that don't know any better.
So for us here in Australia, we think we have an idea on poverty, but can you give us a short picture of what poverty is like in Romania? What's one of the things that's just wrecked you?
You get, there's a little house, you might see some of them on the screen there, that's probably 4 metres by 2.5, and there's 9 people living in there. When it rains, it's muddy, they've clad it with whatever they can find from the tip. And in winter it gets to -25, you know. I just don't know how they survive. And some of them probably die. I was in a position where I was working on a small house there, and there was a little shelter where 9 people were living. I could hear this noise, a bit like a cat. I'm sort of thinking, oh, it's making a funny noise. And I glanced through the door there, and there's this, I'd estimate, about a 6-week-old baby just lying on the bed, and there's no one there. You know, just that's sort of images and thoughts that stick with you. So I feel like after coming home, I think I need to go back. So if anyone wants to come with me.
So what were you doing there?
That.
So you were building? Who were you building houses for?
Well, I went with volunteers abroad, thinking that I'd be working with Julianne in the hospitals a bit and working on a building project. But after getting there, I was with an organisation called FAST. Now, I can't remember what it stands for because it's in Romanian, but the guy ended up being a Christian. Now, they run a building program for the Roma people, which are the gypsies, and they are a faith-based, they happen to be Christian, I didn't know that. They're a faith-based organisation, and they build houses for the poorest of the poor. So it probably depends on the volunteers that come to what style of house they build. So they might have a bricklayer that comes, so they build a brick one. Carpenter, they might build a timber one. Actually, I was the first carpenter they'd ever had. So, yeah.
So we probably have a pretty romantic view of a gypsy. As a Westerner, we think of gypsies, oh, that's pretty cool life in the caravan. How are they treated over there?
The gypsy people...
would they be similar to the outcasts in India?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Romanian people don't care for the gypsy people because they've generally got a, you know, about them that they're thieving and they're just not very nice. And, you know, they're always there pickpocketing or they're begging and, you know, but they don't know any better, you know. They're just trying to survive, I suppose. Struggling with drink and alcohol. I should say alcohol and smoking, you know. They're poor, they live for today, they don't care for tomorrow. Tomorrow they think about tomorrow, you know, what they're going to eat. And,
very survival mode.
Yeah.
So I imagine there's been a huge cost emotionally. You've been pretty wrecked, and I imagine coming back it's hard actually working or living day to day because you just think we've got so much in comparison, just want to get back and help. Financially, I'm assuming there was a cost. You closed, or you didn't close your business. You handed your business over to your partner Simon while you're away. What's the cost been?
Well, there's a cost all around, I suppose. You know, Dad always used to tell me, if you want to help somebody, it's going to cost you. So whether it's financial, whether it's your time or your talents or whatever you have, there's always a cost. So there's financial because you've got to get there. I think it was definitely harder on the guys at home in the business, Narelle and Simon, so they had to sort of struggle through a little bit more without me. There's a cost when you get back. There's a cost for the grandparents because they looked after my children. Although I don't think they were too bad, but you know, it's after being on your own and then looking after kids again, it's harder.
So why would you pay the cost? Why bother? You could have gone for 4 weeks and just gone to a resort. You could have. Why pay the cost?
I wrote a bit about that.
Yeah.
I think you need to pay the cost because, what am I trying to say? I don't want to get to the end of my life and find out when I'm sitting before Jesus that I was called to do something and I never did. So if you don't pay the price now, you pay it later because you just won't make it.
So does that verse, whatever you do for the least of these, you've done for me, Jesus said that. Is that something that you hold?
Yeah. Look, I journaled on that over there, you know, because it's hard to understand the difference that you make because you're only doing a little bit. There's only so much one person can do, but you've got to do something. If God calls you to do it, you just have to do it.
So how do you turn that around? Because you can't, I'm assuming you can't just pick up and move to Romania tomorrow. Your heart probably says, I'd love to go. But how do you then put that down on the ground here? How do you translate that into your everyday life, into your business, into your life here at New Directions, into your family? How do you translate that? Is that part of why the finance board, is that part of that drive just to see God's kingdom come in every area of your life?
Finance board, yeah, well, I've been asked to be on it. I think God's going to have to give me more wisdom than I've got to be on that. I think it's just about being obedient to what you're called to do. And you know, if everybody does their little bit, then a lot gets done.
So you give your loaves and your fishes?
Yeah. You know, and as far as business goes, well, if you're in a business that earns a few dollars, then be generous. Like, you can always save back into somewhere from over here. And a lot of times people just need finance to be able to do things, whether it's here or there, or you know, God might call you to do something here for somebody, or it might be over there. So I think you just got to position yourself to be able to help. But I don't think it's bad to have a business that earns money, but you just got to do with it what God wants you to.
I think it's great to have a business that earns money, otherwise you really shouldn't have a business. Yeah. So you will go back. God's wrecked your heart, and I guess at the moment there's probably some painful moments as you journey that and try and work it all out, but is it worth it? Is the pain worth it?
Yeah. But coming home, I thought, with the resources that we've just got in our own business, it could make a huge difference. I'm thinking, well, midwinter next year, it's slow here, it's summer over there, we might go back for 10 days and take half a dozen people, or whoever wants to come, and just make a difference, because the lack of, they just don't know. If you could just teach them something so that they could do it themselves, then they'll know, but if you don't go, they won't know. So.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
If anyone wants to come mid-year next week, come and see me.
Thanks so much, Paul. Let's give you a round of applause.